and welcome back to Social Studies. Last week we talked about how we honor important people by putting them on money and celebrating holidays with them. Did you have a chance to look at any more money and see if you could find anybody else on money? Because look what I found on the $5 bill. Remember when we talked about President's Day and we saw that George Washington was on the dollar bill and on the quarter? Looky here, Abraham Lincoln is on the $5 bill. And I'm going to challenge you because Abraham Lincoln is also on a coin. Can you find out what coin Abraham Lincoln is on? This week, we are going to be talking about how in social studies we learn about the past. And there's words that we use so that we understand whether it happened recently or very long ago. So that's what we're going to be learning about this week.
Our objective today is students will classify events in terms of yesterday, today, and tomorrow in order to identify and describe events of a day in chronological order. I have words in white that we're going to talk about so that we can understand what our job is today. First, let's look at classifying events. When we classify, we arrange in groups. I can see that the bananas, grapes, and cherries are all fruit, so that's that group. Corn, broccoli, and carrots are vegetables, that's that group. So we're going to be putting things in groups today. What are we going to be putting in groups? Events. Events are something important that happens, like the 100th day of school. 100th day of school is always so much fun. Next, we're going to look at yesterday. Yesterday, on the day before today. So when I look at a calendar, I can see that yesterday on this calendar was the 7th, if today is the 8th. So today, it means on this day. So I can see using the same calendar, it comes after yesterday. Tomorrow is on the day after today. And I can see here's yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And then that big word, chronological. Let's see what that means. That means arranged according to the order of time. So if we're thinking about months, January, then comes February, then comes March. So when I look back at my job, I'm going to be putting things in groups, events that happen, important events that happen in groups. And I'm going to be looking at whether they happened yesterday, whether they happened today, or whether they're going to happen tomorrow. And that's called chronological order, putting them in order according to time. So when I'm thinking about eating an apple for a snack, first I pick up the apple to eat. Next, I eat bites of my apple. Lastly, I throw my apple core in the trash. So here I use the word first, next, and last to describe the order of how I ate my apple. Look at your packet, or just come along with me and get ready to point. Motivation. Look at our picture. First, I started kindergarten. So here's the teacher with his kindergarten students. Next, I was born. Here's a little baby. And I sat in a stroller. Okay, so now I have to decide, looking at these, if I started kindergarten first in my life, next in my life, or last. So look at these three pictures. Point to the picture that would be first. I see a lot of people pointing to this baby. This is the first thing that happened in your life. So we're going to circle first. Okay, look at the two pictures that are left. Did you go to kindergarten next? Or did you sit in a stroller next? Point. I agree. Next, you were in the stroller. And that leaves us last. Do you agree? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Yes, that was the last thing that you did out of these three. Not the last thing that you've done, but out of these choices, this is the last thing that you did. So we're going to be reading a story about the city. But I think we need to remind ourselves what the city is. This is a really nice thing. It's called Google Earth. And I'm going to come up to the search bar and I'm going to type in Baltimore City. And look, we're going to travel to Baltimore City. So here I can see Baltimore City from outside, from very far out. And I can see that there is the Fort McHenry is here. So I'm going to take my person and I'm just going to drop it down to Fort McHenry. If you were standing right here in the city, think about what you see. Think about what you might hear. So we're going to move around. What kinds of things are you going to see and what kinds of things are you going to hear right here? I'm going to go back out. I can move around. Look at all of that stuff. What kinds of things would you see? And what kinds of things? Oh, look, there's an elementary school. What kinds of things would you hear if you were right here at this park? There's houses. Here's a museum. What kinds of things would you see? What kinds of things would you hear if you were in the city? All right, we've been thinking about what kinds of things we would see and hear. Let's read City Sounds by Lucy Long, illustrated by Holly Conger. Dan and I hear cars. Dan and I hear dogs.
Storybox Audio.
I want to hear that again.
Storybox Audio.
Dan and I hear buses. Dan and I hear drums.
Storybox.
Dan and I hear trains. Dan and I hear boats. Dan and I hear birds. That's the end of my story. Now look at your packet or follow along with me on the screen. We're going to put things in order. Put the following things in order from when they happened in the story. Circle the word first, next, or last on each box. So we need to decide when he heard the drums, when he heard the boats, and when he heard the dogs. So I need to go back into the story to see when he heard the drums. So we're going to look for drums, boats, and dogs. Boats was on page 7. Drums was on page 5. And dogs was on page 3. So dogs was page 3. Drums was page 5. Oops, and I skipped it. Oh, boats was on page 7. I'm going to go back to my questions now. And I'm going to write that number down. So this was page 5. And this was page 7. And this was page 3. So now I have to decide. Did he hear the drums first, next, or last? Did Dan hear the boats first, next, or last? And did Dan hear the dogs first, next, or last? Look at our numbers. Which one came first in our story? Point. Very good. On page 3, that was our first thing out of these, so we're going to circle first. Point to the one that would be next. Very good. On page 5 would come next in this order, hearing the drums. And what would be last in this order? Very good. The boats. Now this isn't last in the story, it just is last out of these choices. So here is a picture of me. And this was my first birthday. And this is a picture of me. And that's actually with my first dog, but I'm the same age as you in this picture. I'm a kindergartner. So first, I was eating my first birthday cake. Next, in my order of pictures, my primary sources is me as a kindergartner. Then, fast forward, here is me as a teacher in my classroom. But right now, my classroom doesn't look like this. So today, this is the new word, today, this is what my classroom looks like. So we're going to now, instead of talk about first, next, and last, we're going to use some new words. We're going to talk about yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Remember, they were in our job. So when we look at the calendar, if today was January and today was the 8th, yesterday, remember that's a day before today, would be the 7th. Go back to today is the 8th. Tomorrow, the day after today, would be the 9th. So we're going to be using these words, yesterday, today, tomorrow. We can come back to this if we need to. In your packet, it asks you to draw a picture of something that makes noise in a car. You can go back to that because we're going to go to the next page in your packet and we're going to answer these questions. While at home, Matthew loved eating breakfast. Yesterday, Matthew had chocolate chip muffins for breakfast. They were really yummy. Today, he had a bowl of cereal. Tomorrow, he will eat eggs for breakfast. Look at our questions. What did Matthew eat for breakfast yesterday? Here's that word yesterday. So let's go up and find the word yesterday. While at home, Matthew loved eating breakfast yesterday. Here's the yesterday. Matthew had a chocolate chip muffin for breakfast. So our answer is chocolate chip muffin. So I'm going to circle what we would write. And I'm going to switch colors for the next one. What did Matthew eat for breakfast today? So I'm going to go up and look for the word today. I see the word today right here. And I'm going to circle, he had a bowl of cereal. And then I'm going to switch colors again. My last question asks, what will Matthew eat for breakfast tomorrow? Here's the word tomorrow. He will eat eggs. So I'm going to review. Yesterday, he had chocolate chip muffins. Today, he had a bowl of cereal. And tomorrow, he will have eggs. I wonder which one might be his favorite. Let's look at our job today. Students will classify events in terms of yesterday, today, and tomorrow in order to identify and describe events of a day in chronological order. So we put some things in order. We use first, next, and last, and we use yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I kind of like putting things in chronological order. The next thing in your packet is your assignment. You can either do it in your packet, or if you have a computer and want to do it on the computer, you have a Wixie assignment. Either way, you're going to be doing the same kind of work. If you're doing Wixie, you're going to be using these pictures and words to describe what the weather was like yesterday, what the weather is like today, and what you predict the weather will be like tomorrow. You can also do this in your packet. Remember, if you don't have a packet, you can just do it on a piece of paper. So did you write about anybody else? If you did, I would love to see it.